What if I told you the biggest mistake most job seekers make is thinking the job search is about them? It's not. Nobody's hiring you because you work well in teams or because you're passionate about the industry. And once you understand that, your resume, your LinkedIn, and your interviews will instantly improve. Now, you know how some advice just sticks with you forever. Well, there's one job search mantra I've shared with hundreds of clients over the years. And in this video, you're going to be getting it too. And it changes everything once you really get it. And it's that your job search is not about you. It's about them. And by that, I mean potential employers. And yes, I know this sounds counterintuitive, especially when you're told to sell yourself and show off your experience. But that advice often leads people to say things like, "Hi, I'm Lucy. I've got a master's degree in this, a PhD in that. I've been in the industry for over 15 years, and here's a list of things I've done." And while, yes, your experience does matter, it's not what gets you hired. What gets you hired is your ability to solve their problems. So let me break it down. Let's look at it from an employer's point of view. They're hiring because they have a goal they are looking to hit or a problem they need to solve. Something's broken, underperforming, stretched or stalled. They need someone who can come in and fix it. And that's it. That's the whole reason the job exists. They're not hiring you for your career goals. They're not hiring you because you're a hard worker or a team player. They're hiring you to fix a problem, or if we want to use corporate terminology, to move the needle. And if you can understand what their specific pain point is and position yourself as the solution, you're halfway there. In fact, there's one thing I say to every single one of my clients, and it's this: if you can describe their problem better than they can, they will automatically assume you have the solution. And if you've not yet watched the video of my 22-year-old client Henry, who used this strategy to secure an interview invite from a tech CEO, then you should definitely go take a look at that next. He didn't even apply and ended up securing a 6-figure salary. So yes, this is crucial, yet most job seekers miss this. They start their resume and outreach messages with things like, "I'm a results-driven, detail-orientated professional with a passion for blah, blah, blah." No, that's filler. It doesn't tell me what problem you solve. Or they hop into interviews with, "I've always admired your company and I'd love to grow in my career." It's a nice sentiment, but again, not the point. A better opening sounds like this: "I know you're looking for someone who can streamline your processes, improve client retention, and lead cross-functional teams. So we'd love to see how my strategies used there might help you triple your client retention and revenue here." You see the shift? It's no longer about you. It's about what you can do for them. Now, even if you've nailed that mindset, even if you do understand it's about solving their problems, the game has changed. Now, I was a recruiter for close to 10 years, have now spent years career and job search coaching. And what I'm seeing in today's market is different. And I mean really different. Previously, almost anyone could send out a handful of outreach messages and expect a decent response rate, maybe 40, even 50% if they'd done their homework. But now, most people are lucky if they get 5 to 10%. Often, this is because more and more people are doing this now. But most of the time, it's because while their messages sound fine, they simply aren't strong enough to hook the hiring manager's attention, which you need to do in about 2 seconds flat, by the way. Recruiters, hiring managers, internal employees are getting swamped. DMs, emails, connection requests, it's endless. They're overwhelmed, and your message could be just another in a pile for that day. But yes, outreach still works. In fact, aside from a direct referral in or being related to the CEO, it works better than anything else. But you need to be doing it consistently. And while I'm all about being as focused as possible, if you're going to go all in on your job search, like full send mode, I'd rather you send 100 well-targeted outreach messages than blast 100 soulless ATS filtered applications. The results will be 100 times better. You just need to know how to play the game differently now. And in a minute, you're going to get the step-by-step process of exactly how to do that, from identifying employer pain points to positioning yourself as the solution. But before we dive in, can I ask you one quick favour? If you've been following me for a while, you'll know I post weekly videos to help you navigate today's tough job market. And if you're new here, welcome. You've just found a channel that will help you land more interviews. Now, to keep this channel growing and to help me keep creating valuable content for you, all I ask is if you're not already, subscribe and just click the like button. When you do, YouTube shows this video to more people who need it. So help me help you. Give that button a quick tap. Now back to the video. Now this all starts with the employer and in particular the hiring manager, your future boss. So if you've seen many of my previous videos, you'll know that I often talk about finding the hiring manager or boss hunting. So the first step is to get crystal clear on who you're going to be reporting into. Now I'm not talking about a specific individual. I'm talking about an avatar of whom your boss is likely to be, their job title, their level of experience, what sector they work in, their habits, their goals. All of these things matter and you need to build a theoretical picture of this person. If you are in sales, this is known as establishing your ICP or ideal customer profile. In job searching, I refer to this as knowing your IHM or your ideal hiring manager. So you need to get this locked in. Now, let me give you a quick example of why this matters. So let's say you run a company selling high-end fitness equipment. Now, your ideal customer is probably a gym owner, right? Someone who cares about durability, long-term ROI, space saving, design, not some random student in a dorm with $50 to spare and nowhere to put a squat rack. Now, imagine you don't know that. You spend all your time creating flashy TikToks, running Facebook ads for the general public when your equipment costs £4,000 per unit. What's going to happen? Absolutely nothing, right? It's the wrong audience, it's the wrong messaging, and frankly, it wouldn't matter how good your product was. Now apply that to your job search. If you haven't clearly defined your IHM or ideal hiring manager, you'll do the exact same thing job seekers do every day. Send generic messages that fall flat. Talk about yourself in a way that doesn't matter to them. Miss the real problem they're hiring to solve. And what happens? Well, you probably already know. Silence, ghosting, endless rejection, and no feedback. And it's not because you're not qualified or because you're not good enough. It's because you're either talking to the wrong people, not solving a problem they care about, or worse, one they don't even have. Okay? Now, I know this can feel like a lot. Like, I just want a job. Can't you just tell me what to put on my resume to get one? But trust me, this is the shortcut. Most people apply it without a plan. But by the time we finish this video, that's not going to be you. So stay with me. It's about to get really practical, okay? So how do you figure out what companies' pain points are or what hiring managers' pain points are? Well, if you've done a thorough job mapping out your IHM, you should already have a reasonable idea. But here are a few of my favorite strategies. So number one, the job description. Now this one's obvious, but don't just skim it. I know for a fact that most people go through these in a matter of seconds, look at the responsibilities and think, yeah, I can do that, and then they fire over their resume. But what you should do is study this like a detective. Look at what's repeated, what's emphasized, what's phrased urgently. If the listing says must be able to manage tight deadlines, that's not just a bullet point. That's a potential pain point. They might be dealing with missed deadlines, delayed deliverables, or poor planning. Now, also noted in the job description, look for these words, reporting to or reports to, because you know what's going to follow. You've got it, the job title of the hiring manager. So a quick tip, while you're sat looking at the JD, tap Control F on your keyboard and search those words. Now, it's not always going to be noted, but it takes 2 seconds and you'll be able to confirm you're targeting the right person. Okay, now option 2, look at the hiring manager's LinkedIn activity. If you've mapped out your IHM well, you can likely figure out who your future boss is or someone in a similar role. Now go stalk their LinkedIn respectively. See what they post about, what they comment on, what they complain about, even subtly. Now, when I was a recruiter, the hiring managers I'd often work closely with were directors in the clinical research space. And I'd often see them venting about delays with study startup, disjointed communication across teams, high CRA turnover and training gaps, burnout and overload. So guess what I talk about when positioning my candidates? Simple, right? Now, this isn't rocket science. There will be frustrated hiring managers on LinkedIn telling you exactly what their problems are every single day. You just need to take that info and use it to tailor your approach. Additionally, do some company research. Check the company website, especially the About page, mission statement, even their blog page if they have one. Look at recent press releases. Have they just raised funding, launched a new product, had rounds of layoffs? Every change introduces new problems. And then number 3, listen to the company leaders. If the CEO has been on a podcast or shared something on LinkedIn or anywhere else, listen closely. They'll often mention the company goals or industry shifts they're trying to navigate. Now that gives you insight into what's keeping them up at night. And then finally, customer reviews. Now this one is particularly useful if you're in customer success or marketing. And all you need to do is go to Trustpilot, Reddit, app reviews or forums. What are customers complaining about? What do they love? That will tell you where the gaps are and how you can add value. Okay, now let's say you've done all of this. You've identified their pain points, you've crafted your message. Now you need proof. Now this is where numbers come in. And I can't say this enough. Your resume needs metrics. Before it was nice to have, now it's non-negotiable. Don't just say, led a team of sales reps. Say, led a team of 6 sales reps growing revenue by 18% in 12 months. And don't just say, manage projects across teams. Say, manage 12 cross-functional projects simultaneously delivering 95% on time and under budget. Metrics are how you build trust. They're how you move from, I did this, to here's how well I did it. And even if you're in a role that feels hard to quantify, I promise you there are numbers in your day-to-day. Emails answered, processes improved, satisfaction scores, call volumes, budgets managed, projects completed, errors reduced, time saved. Start tracking them now. Your future self will thank you. And if you want my free download with 100+ ways to add quantifiable metrics to your resume, just comment impact below and I'll send you the link to grab it. Now let's zoom out for a second. Like I said before, the job market now is unlike anything I've ever seen. Competition is intense, recruiters are overwhelmed, hiring timelines are longer, and that means standing out isn't optional, it's essential. If your outreach sounds like everyone else, you'll be ignored. If your resume reads like a task list, you'll be skipped. If your LinkedIn headline is open to work and nothing else, I can tell you that you're going to be waiting a long time for someone to come and save you. What you need to do is be specific about the problem that you solve. Speak directly to the company's goals and use data to back up your claims. Show them clearly and confidently why you're the solution. Listen, if you're struggling right now, I see you. This market is hard, it's frustrating, and it can feel like you're doing everything right and getting nowhere. Please know that doesn't mean you're not talented. It doesn't mean you're not worthy. It means you need a strategy that works in this market. You need to stop thinking like a job seeker and start thinking like a problem solver. Because at the end of the day, that's who gets hired. So if you're stuck, go back to this question. What problems are they trying to solve and how can I show them I'm the one to solve it? Master that and you'll unlock job search success. Now, of course, as always, feel free to get in touch if you want my help, but all the best for now and I'll see you in the next one.